What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? My name is Deshaun, and yeah, welcome back. So recently, Teofimo Lopez did an interview with Fight Hype, and he had a lot to say. He talked about who he wanted to fight next. He talked about, you know, these other lightweights getting the shot at Vasily Lomachenko, but either not wanting it because they weren't ready or the money wasn't right. He talked about a lot of stuff, and yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that, but y'all make sure y'all don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so you can subscribe to the channel, and you won't miss a video. You won't miss a video. So, like I said, Teofimo Lopez had a lot to say in terms of his next fight, in terms of, future fights with the other, 3 stars in the lightweight division, in terms of making these mega fights happen, whether it's Fury, Wild, or Fury, Joshua, Spence, Crawford, Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor. He had a lot to say about everything. So we're going to get into that real quick. But first, let's start off with Teofimo Lopez says that he wants to fight, that he's fighting IBF mandatory Australian lightweight George Kambosos. And the reason he is wanting to fight him is because he doesn't want to lose his IBF belt, with Kambosos being the mandatory. And, Kambosos has wins over Lee Shelby, and that's a pretty good win. And he has a win over Mickey Bay, which some people don't think that's really that great, but, he has a win over him, And honestly, he doesn't look like that bad of a mandatory to me. Like, he looks like he can box. He looks like he's slick. He looks like he's pretty fast, strong. He's undefeated. He's like 19-0, 11 knockouts. So, I don't know. It's definitely not the worst mandatory that I've ever seen. And if you think about it, Teofimo's last mandatory, everybody thought he was going to just stop that guy, wash him. But it turned out being a pretty decent fight. So, competitive, So, in terms of, people knocking him for taking this mandatory, well, this is a fight that he has to take eventually. So why not take it now, get it over with, And like I said, it might be a decent fight because he doesn't look like that bad of a fighter. But he also goes on to talk about, Devin Haney. He had a lot to say about Devin Haney. He had a lot to say about, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia in terms of, them being played when it comes to him having the real belts. They're getting played, having the belts, but he has the real belts. So they're the ones getting played, and especially when it comes to Devin Haney, because Devin Haney, recently did an interview with Max Kellerman and said that Teofimo is not the undisputed champion at 140 because he has a WBC belt, and Teofimo has a franchise. So Teofimo goes on to brag about that and show both belts and certificates and claiming that he is the unified champion at 140, undisputed champion at 140. And one thing that interested me is whenever he talked about these guys, wanting fights with him, he is saying that these guys should have to prove themselves to fight him. Not should have to, but he wants them to prove themselves. And I'm not, he's not talking about, fight each other. He's just talking about top 15 guys. He said top 15, top 10 guys, prove themselves. Like he threw one out there. He said Devin Haney. Devin Haney has a mandatory, which is Javier Fortuna. Fight Javier Fortuna, and then that'll show that he's proven. But this is to Teofimo Lopez. He said that Ryan Garcia is proven. And, we all watched the fight. We all seen Ryan Garcia step up for his toughest test. And Luke Campbell get dropped in the first round. Get up, show his grit and his will to win. And his toughness, mental toughness too. Get up and not only beat Luke Campbell, but stop Luke Campbell in an incredible fashion with the body shot. So, yeah. Other than that, he said that these guys need to prove themselves. He throws in there who have these guys fought. He says that when it comes to Davis, Santa Cruz was a 130 pounder, not a 135 pounder. When it goes to Pedraza, he was a 130 pounder, not a 135. So none of those wins count to Teofimo Lopez, as in terms of proving yourself at 130. He knocked Devin Haney. He said Devin Haney hasn't fought anybody, and he said that he told the world that he was gonna beat Gamboa better than Crawford and better than Davis, and he did. I mean, he won all the rounds. He won every round. He barely got hit. So I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Gamboa's fight with Crawford, yes, he got knocked out. Gamboa's fight with Davis, yes, he got knocked out. He goes all 12 with Devin Haney. I don't know. Either way, it was impressive to me. That's just to me though. But yeah, he said these guys need to prove themselves and that they're not proving themselves. But for me, like, when it comes to people getting mad about him taking this mandatory or calling him a duck, because I've seen that numerous times, people calling him a duck because he didn't fight a Devin Haney. These guys are early 20s to mid 20s. These guys have plenty of time to fight each other. And if it's not at 135, maybe it's at 140. So, and these guys aren't 40 years old, so it's not like, oh, we gotta get the fight. These guys are getting older quick. So, and like he said, he has a mandatory, IBF mandatory, and Devin Haney has a mandatory. Fight your mandatories, because they're on a collision course. They are. In terms of these four, it's Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, and then Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. So they're on the collision course. Fight each other's mandatory, and then have a fight together. And then for Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, I'd like to see them fight maybe a Jorge Linares, maybe a Lee Shelby, maybe a Richard Cormier, Richard Comey. Something that we can watch and enjoy, and then fight each other. But like I said, I feel like all these guys can move up to 140. Even when it comes to Tank Davis, I feel like he can move up to 140. And I feel like the others can move up anywhere to, 154. So, and I think it was a good interview. I feel like people like Teofimo Lopez are great for boxing because when it comes to, trash talking, there's not we don't really have that many great trash talkers. You know, we got trash talkers like Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. They'll talk trash, but they're not. They just don't have the. They just don't have it. Like we've seen with Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez kind of cut from the same cloth as Adrian Broner. They're not the same. Teofimo Lopez doesn't do the exact stuff that Adrian Broner does. But when it comes to talking crap, being flashy, being cocky, he does that, and he does it very well. And we've seen with Adrian Broner that not only was he a great fighter, but that's what got him so popular. People were just waiting to see, videos of like the press conference or see what he was gonna say in the press conference or the weigh, and they was ready to see that, or the post fight interviews. They were waiting to hear what he was gonna say. That excited people. And some people like how Teofimo is talking. Some people like that cockiness. Some people like that, flashiness. Now, it's not the same flashiness like a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather throws some money and show off his cars. These guys are more trash talk and just, say some crazy stuff. So for me, man, I think it's good for boxing. I like that these guys are actually, going at each other's heads, and it's just not completely friendly. So, man, this is what we need in boxing. Also, like he said, we want to see these big fights. We want to see these, Furies and Joshua and, Earl Spence and Crawford and Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor. Teofimo brought that up. He's saying, man, we need to get these fights made, without, any problems. These are what we need to get made without any problems from the promotion side, the money side. He wants to get these fights made, and that's 100%. That is 100%. That is what we need. We need to get these fights made and stop having to wait 10 years just to get them made. When it comes to boxing, the promotion side can get in the way, the money side can get in the way, but at the end of the day, they have to find a way to make everyone happy, especially when it comes to promoters. Promoters have to find a way to work with each other so we can get these amazing fights. If these fights are getting held up just because of the promoter, it's stupid. These guys are grown men. They should all be able to get along to make the great fights. But yeah, before y'all go, let me know down in the comments, who do y'all think is the best lightweight out of these 4 young stars? Y'all let me know down in the comments. Who's the best out of these 4 young stars? Who do y'all think is the best? Because you can't go wrong with either one. You really can't. But yeah, I'm out. Peace.